Hello, BookTube. This is Weekly Reads. My reading this week has been a tale of a crappy weekend and a great work week. Although some of the things that happened during the week were not so great, but that's not book related. So, anyway, let's get going. So, I started my reading week with a struggle. Did I want to continue with China's Cosmopolitan Empire by Mark Edward Lewis? This is an academic study of the Tang Dynasty, which ruled China from the early 7th century to the early 10th century CE or AD, however you choose to, whatever you decide to tag on to the dates. Anyway, so the book gives a brief, it's a very short book, overview of the Tang Dynasty, and then it looks at certain aspects of the dynasty from like urban life, rural life, kinship, writing, and a few other subjects peppered throughout the text. I was disappointed by this reread. It had been several years since the last time I read it, probably about 8, 9, give or take, probably longer. Because I remember I interlibrary loaned it, and I want to say it was before I moved into this apartment. So it's been the better part of a decade since the last time I read it, and I remember that reading somewhat fondly, but indistinctly. And this reread, again, was a disappointment. I know what I want when it comes to Chinese history, and this isn't it. What I want is a narrative history that incorporates everything that Mark Edward Lewis does in this book in the narrative, and more seamlessly in the narrative. I don't know if such a book exists. I think I'm going to make an effort to find it, though, and perhaps maybe talk about it in a video at some point as I hopefully find such a book. Hopefully it exists, because I do want more Chinese history in my collection. So until I find the Chinese histories that I want, this book will remain as a placeholder until then. So from China's Cosmopolitan Empire, I moved on to one of the books I wanted to read for Horror Mayhem and May of the Moderns. So for those of you who don't know, Horror Mayhem is a booktube event in which participants read horror fiction, mostly on the short end, throughout the month of May. The event was created by the Bookish Bryants, and there are a number of co-hosts. Although the Bookish Bryants are not hosting this year's edition, it's still going on. And May of the Moderns is a older booktube event in which participants read fiction and possibly nonfiction, but mostly fiction, published between 1900 and 1950. And this book, Uncharted Seas by Dennis Wheatley, fits both. It's horror, more on the science fiction side of it, though, and it was published in 1938. So, Uncharted Seas is about the survivors of, or the surviving passengers of a shipwrecked cargo ship. Sorry about that. There's a chance of storms later this evening. Who sort of they get caught up in a hurricane and get trapped in the Sargasso Sea. The conceit of this book is that there are a number of undiscovered islands in the Sargasso Sea in which the survivors of previous shipwrecks have eked out an existence. And there are a few monsters in the area as well. I hated this book from the beginning. The style, the characters, it didn't do anything for me, and it actively put me off. So, why did I buy this book? Well, I want to watch the film adaptation, Lost Continent. I had watched I think I've seen bits of Lost Continent. I don't think I've ever seen the entire movie, or if I have, it's been years ago. And I really would like to watch it, but TCM doesn't always air it, unlike with one of Dennis Wheatley's other adapted works, The Devil Rides Out, which TCM, for those of you who don't know Turner Classic Movies, airs every October during its horror-themed play like marathon. So yeah, this was disappointing, and I really should just watch the movie. But I mean, that's largely why I have the other Dennis Wheatley books as well. Is I kind of like the film adaptations, and I really should have just stuck with them. Anyway, that's that. So on Sunday, I decided to have one more shot at Elizabeth Bishop's poems. So in May, Book Club STD or Steve Donahue or the Steve Tiberius Donahue Book Club is reading a selection of Elizabeth Bishop's letters. And I decided to take the opportunity to have yet another go at her poems. I don't get on with Elizabeth Bishop's work. There may be 3 or 4 poems I kind of like. And this reread attempt or this reading attempt did nothing. It's basically, I still don't really like most of her work. So anyway, now that took care of that. So on Monday, I decided I'm going to read some manga. So on Friday, I read the first 3 volumes of One Piece by Eiichiro Oda in this omnibus edition that has volumes 1 through 3. One Piece is one of the most popular manga in the world, and a very long-running one. It is in its, I want to say 24th or 25th year, and shows no signs of stopping anytime soon. But anyway, so One Piece is a pirate-themed shonen manga series. It's the story of a young man named Monkey D. Luffy who dreams of becoming the king of the pirates. And he was inspired in this dream by his association earlier in his childhood with a pirate captain named Shanks. So when Luffy's old enough, he leaves his port town hometown and goes in search of a crew and a ship. He initially runs into an enslaved cabin boy named Kobe, who is serving the Alvida pirates. Luffy defeats Alvida, and he and Kobe escape. Kobe does not want to be a pirate, he wants to be a marine, which leads them to a settlement that is ruled by a tyrannical Marine captain named Morgan, who has captured a pirate hunter named Roanoa Zoro, who is a master swordsman. Luffy teams up with Zoro to defeat Captain Morgan. Toby joins the Marines, and Luffy and Zoro leave and go to a small town that has been taken over by the infamous pirate Buggy the Clown. There they meet a young woman named Nami, who is a master navigator, and thus the first two members of Luffy's pirate crew join up with him. Buggy, much like Luffy, has eaten the devil fruit. It's a magical fruit that gives magical powers. Luffy can stretch like rubber, so sort of like Mr. Fantastic, if you know anything about American superhero comics. And Buggy can basically separate his body at will and still control it. So Buggy's defeated, and the trio go off. And eventually, they wind up on another port town where they meet Usopp, the town braggart, and come across a seemingly retired pirate. I really enjoyed these 3 volumes of One Piece. They were a lot of fun, and it's delightful. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to picking up the next omnibus edition, which is how I will be reading One Piece, because buying individual volumes is going to take up a lot of space and cost a lot of money, because there are like well over 100 volumes now. And then on Tuesday, I took a slim volume of poetry with me when I went with my mom to a doctor's appointment, which I won't talk about except to mention that because I didn't read a whole lot, and the visit itself was rather unpleasant. And I'll just say that. I don't want to go into details about that. But anyway, fortunately, I don't think we'll have to deal with the similar thing the next time we go. But anyway, so from Wednesday to today, I read volumes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 of Naruto by Masashi Kishimoto. So, to recap, Naruto is the story of a young man named Naruto Uzumaki. He is a student ninja in the village hidden in the leaves, Konohagakure, and he is the town pariah. He's the class clown, the class troublemaker, the dunce. And one day he fails his graduation exam and is told by one of his teachers, Mizuki, that if he steals a forbidden scroll from the Hokage, the leader of the village, who Naruto wishes to replace one day, he'll be able to graduate. Naruto successfully steals the scroll and learns a technique from that scroll. Iruka, Naruto's other teacher, eventually tracks him down and discovers that Mizuki had planned to steal a scroll. Naruto and Iruka team up to defeat Mizuki, and Naruto gets a failed graduation. So Naruto is then apprenticed in a 3-person team to Kakashi, a Jonin instructor. So basically how the ninja system in this world works is that, beyond the fact that they are incredibly superpowered, is that you start off as students and then you become genin, or effectively apprentice ninja, who serve in a 3-person team under a jonin instructor. And then one level up is chunin, who are basically journeyman ninjas, who can work within a 3-person cell, other formations, and even individually, I think. And then the next run up the ladder is jonin, who are elite ninjas or master ninjas. And yeah, and then eventually it's the Hokage, or leader of the village. But anyway, so Naruto is joined by Sasuke Uchiha, a young man who is very similar to Naruto. He's an orphan. But he's also a foil, in that whereas Naruto is a troublemaker, a braggart, Sasuke is brooding and angry. And then there's, of course, Sakura Haruno, who Naruto has a crush on, and who has a crush on Sasuke. During the confrontation with Mizuki, Naruto learns that he possesses the 9-tailed demon fox that attacked the village on the day of his birth. And that's why the village does not like him all that much. So initially, Kakashi puts Naruto and his teammates through a test to see if they really qualify to be his apprentices. And eventually they pass. And they do starter ninja missions before taking on a mission that is put forward by the worst client. And this leads to the first really big arc of the series, in which Naruto and his team confront the rogue ninja named Zabuza and his apprentice Haku. And then from there, once they get back to Konoha, they are entered into the Chunin exams, which is the promotion exam. So the last time I held up Naruto after having read the first volume, I was critical of it. There are some bits of it that, depending when I read the first volume, kind of bug me. And then sometimes I can overlook it. And this time, my reading of volume 1 was thankfully much more positive than my last one. I really needed that. Like, I don't know, but it worked. I rather like this reading. I mean, I do still have some issues, but I guess it's like, I don't know. Sometimes I can really get into it, and then sometimes I'm like, well, wait a minute. Why isn't Naruto more resentful? Or Kakashi being a big of a douche as he can be. But this time it was a much better reading this time. And it really bled over into the other volumes. I really enjoyed volume 2. It was a lot of fun to read again. And definitely, I think Naruto gets better as it goes along, until maybe the creep of the final arc. But I'll get to that eventually. It might take me forever, though. But anyway. So yeah, I really enjoyed this volume. And then volumes 3 and 4 were great, particularly the final part of this arc. or this volume 3, was really good. Although I don't know necessarily if I could really want to show you the art from it. But anyway, yeah, that's some nice artwork. But yeah, really enjoyed this volume. Volume 4 nearly brought me to tears. And I did not expect that at all. So here's some fight scenes I thought it's really great. And then I really enjoyed volumes 5 and 6. Volume 5 has an extended bit of several chapter long test that you would think wouldn't be as tension filled as it was, but it was great. And volume 6 was really good as well. So I am thrilled. I'm really looking forward to reading more Naruto and picking up more volumes of it. So yeah. But anyway, so show you a little bit from here. So it was great. The artwork's really good. So very happy. Now I just need to pick up some more of Naruto. So it was a great manga reading week. So what will I be reading this coming reading week? I am planning to read over the course of the weekend Assyria, The Rise and Fall of the World's First Empire by Eckart Frahm. This is history of Assyria that I've been looking forward to getting to for ever since I first heard about it. I got it early last month and finally getting around to getting to it. I'm also hoping to read The Mongol Storm, Making and Breaking Empires in the Medieval Near East by Nicholas Morton. This is a history of the Mongol conquests, particularly of the Middle East. I've been looking forward to getting to this one for a while. And if I have some time this week, and if I don't, then I'll probably try to get to it this weekend, or maybe the next reading week, is Ramesses the Great, Egypt's King of Kings by Toby Wilkinson. This is a biography of Ramesses II, and I just got it in the mail this afternoon, or well, actually this morning, courtesy of Steve Donahue at Hyde Cottage. I'm quite looking forward to this. And if things change, I might read some more manga. I really want to get to a few other series, but if I do, I'll let you know next weekly reads how that turns out. So yeah. So my phone plans for next week. I'll probably do some tags Monday and Tuesday because there are some tags that I haven't gotten to that I would like to. I might try to do some discussion videos. I was thinking of wrapping this up with a discussion of whether or not I should pick up a book, but after my Naruto read this afternoon, I'm more inclined, I think, to hold off on picking that particular book up. I guess I could talk a bit about that on Monday too, or I guess I could go and do it now. So, I had The World by Simon Sebag Montefiore on pre-order for quite a while, and decided at the beginning of the month to cancel that pre-order, in part because I wanted to kind of go a bit crazier with manga, which I have. And I think I'm probably going to go even crazier with manga this month than I'd originally anticipated. We'll see how that turns out. But I've been thinking about maybe pre-ordering The World because I know Mark at Book Time with Elvis really liked the book, and Steve recommended it, or recommends it. So that's making me reconsider. But at the same time, I dipped into it through a preview, and I caught a mistake very quickly that makes me leery, because if I caught this mistake, and I mean, it's a mistake that really should have been caught. It's so the first section of the book discusses, I'm possibly going to butcher her name, but it's Enhuduwana. She was a priestess of the moon god Nana, who's also known as Sin, in the early history. And Montefiore misgenders Nana and Sin. He calls them a goddess, when in actual fact they're the moon god. And that error made me go, why? If you get this wrong and you didn't catch it and your editor didn't catch it, well, what else are you not going to have caught? What other errors are there in the book? And so that's making me really leery of picking it up, because I don't know for sure. So I've been waffling, but I think with how well my manga reading has turned out this week, that I probably will hold off. I mean, I might still pick it up at some point in the future, I don't know, but I don't think I'm going to pre-order it. But anyway, I could also change my mind. It all depends. But anyway, BookTube, that's been a bit of a tangential rant or ramble. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off for now. So thank you, BookTube. Have a great weekend. And until I see you on Monday, thank you and stay safe.